Cecil, at the present moment, I don't know if you are employed or not.
I am.
Yes. Yes, he's employed. Where?
Take 3.
Oh, Take 3. You haven't been on the scene for a while as far as a few people are concerned, as far as the big clubs.
The last time I worked was in November.
At a club. I believe that was a 5-spot cafe, wasn't it?
Yes.
I spoke to the manager one time about you appearing there. I believe you were trying to get back there one time. And he mentioned the fact that you played too long. I can see why he has a business to take care of, and if you do play for a specific amount of time, people don't buy as much drinks, and he doesn't bring in as much money. I can see him as a club owner stating the fact that he wouldn't want you to come back at that particular moment unless you decided you would play within a certain limit of time.
Well, I suppose what you're talking about are the realities. The realities are, as George and Gunther have said before, that we live in a country where art is not the thing, you know, like if you're an artist, then you take on the responsibility of being an artist, which does, in a sense, preclude you being a machine, which means that you, you know, time it. You're going to play 30 minutes, or you're going to play 15 minutes. I don't know what the answer is.
I think what Cecil means in the relationship of a person playing for the sake of being an artist has a lot to do with who's actually listening to what he's playing. I mean, if I've seen successful, say, economical musicians play for hours one tune, and I've never seen a club owner go up to them and tell them to stop, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But in such case where I don't see why any person should be partial to one group of players or anyone else. If the
do you find that various club owners are partial?
Well, I think club owners are partial, you know, from buying liquor to charging over prices, or either underpaying. I mean, club owners to me seems to definite be in the limelight of creating an economical purpose to stay in business, which is they are right. But when they play the music too without having the instrument in their hand, just from their mind to what they think is creating the money or stopping the money from coming in, I think they get that confused with what the person is doing more than how the people are appreciating what they're doing.
And do you agree with that?
Well, I think,
Go ahead,
I think what Ornette hinted at is something that we do have to take into consideration, Mr. DeLugoff notwithstanding, that club owners do have little preferences. You know, they do like certain musics. Other musics do get them a little nervous. You know, and they're not quite as objective as they'd like us to believe.
There is an emotional tie-in, in other words, between the club owner and the music that has made money for him. Not that he's really aesthetically sold on the music, but he becomes sold on it when the music makes money for him, you know.
I'd like to ask you something, because this is something that's preyed on my mind a long time, but I'm not a practicing musician. As a matter of fact, when you introduced us as jazz musicians, you have to include me out. But since I'm not a practicing musician, I'm not sure of this, but it seems to me that many of the club owners go around asking their favorite name musicians about certain of the more suspect types, you know, of musicians and composers. And, well, you can well imagine the kind of answers they get. And I do think, but I'm asking whether this is so, perhaps you know, that many fine musicians very often do lose out because some other person who happens to be in their good graces gives not necessarily a harsh opinion, but in some way indicates that, well, this isn't really the right thing for you, and of course the two agree on this, and then it simply means that that musician is then eliminated from working.
I think this is true.
I know.
I don't want to name names. I could, but
well, it seemed to me that one of the biggest purposes of people misunderstanding certain things that exist in what is known as jazz or any type of music comes about by the things that people write or people tell them to hear or that their friends tell them, but it's still left up to the complete listener to make a demand on his own mentality to understand anything that has come about for him to hear. But as far as the club owner, I don't think they will ever have the music of any particular period in the limelight as far as showing the people that this is happening or that is happening. If it wasn't for writers, I imagine people wouldn't even know who was playing a trombone or flute.
Well, I guess it's not particularly their function to do that. But I do feel they could be a little more open-minded and more perceptive. I mean, even if some of these club owners would once in a while read some of the more aware critics, I think it would help. I suppose this is a utopia which we can't expect from them, but
I just think they read a Downbeat with us.
Well, yes, that's it. Right, yes.
Well, as one club owner said to a person I know, he was shown the recent critics poll, and this friend of mine pointed to my name as a winner, and the owner said, "Well, is that the people's choice or is that the critics' choice?"
Yeah. Well, that sums it up, I think.
But do you think that the critic can also create a desire for the club owner to hire a group?
Well, don't ask me because it's
Ask
not
Leroy.
for me yet.
Why don't you ask Leroy that question?
Do you think so, Leroy?
Well, I didn't hear
Do you think the critic has any bearing on a club owner hiring a group? You think that a critic can create a desire for a club owner to hire a particular group that...
Not unless he can guarantee him a few dollars with it. But just on the strength of him saying so, it's not.
Well, do you think that the educational purpose of what a critic does for the sake of people that have no knowledge what is going on in the music helps to cause the people to go out to a club to hear artists?
Well, that's hard. That's hard to say. In some sense, it does. But the people who really read critics, or the critics who I think are knowledgeable critics, are people who would be persuaded that a good thing was good anyway, just by listening to it. The average fan reacts to the easiest music available.
But do you think critics go out and listen to music the way that they write about it?
Well, critics are as different as musicians. You know,
I don't think they do.
You've got separate.